Thank God for bad games. We often don't give enough credit to many decent games until we see just how bad they can get. I am of course talking about Fallout 76, the online multiplayer post-apocalyptic shooter by Bethesda. Do you remember when everyone was complaining about Fallout 4's lack of role-playing elements and its lazy quests, with Preston Garvey becoming the very face for grind in that game? Well, Fallout 76 is like Bethesda's spiteful hate letter to anyone who dared to talk shit about the 4th installment in the series. You don't like Preston sending you all over the map to help every little farmer like a social care worker? Well, fuck you. You are getting more lazy quests, but no NPCs to moan about this time, screams Bethesda, while they sodomize the Fallout franchise before our very eyes and flaccid penises. Just like in Fallout 4, the game revolves around collecting a bunch of shit, building a camp from gathered shit, and then looting everything within walking distance to build and craft more shit. You then wear the crafted shit to make yourself stronger, thus making further looting of shit possible. I mean, if the servers don't break on you, that is. I am not opposed to the survival game-like gameplay, but this type of a game needs to have a good story and setting to give meaningful context for chronic kleptomania. Like in the forest, where you were trying to survive on a creepy island against the threat of you and your son getting cannibalized by the local tribe. So what is the story here, you may ask? Well, instead of telling you the story, let me paint you this picture. Todd Howard is sat around a table in a meeting with Bethesda's main story writer and the writer's apprentice. So, what's the story this time? He asks. How about a story of a young adult who sets out into the wasteland in search of his family? Offers the writer. Boring. We have already done that in Fallout 3, remember? Oh yes. How about a story of a parent setting out into the wasteland in search of his family? We have literally just done that in the last game, come on, we can't possibly be this lazy. Both Todd and his writer sit still looking at the thumbs. Well, my family and then my foster parents walked out on me, says the young apprentice, which causes Todd Howard to jump in excitement. You mean an overseer walked out on you? Asks the main writer. No, I mean... Perfect, it's just like the story in Fallout 3, but not exactly the same. We might get away with this, exclaimed Todd. After the meeting, everyone goes to the pub for a beer in anticipation for even more fat checks to come through. And so, this is the story in Fallout 76. An overseer decides to open the door to the vault and fuck off into the Commonwealth, asking every other vault dweller to do the same and start new lives in the outside world. Appalachia is the most colourful and forested Fallout world to date, yet it is the most lifeless one. A bit like an Instagram model, all pretty on the eye but good luck finding any personality under those eyelashes, but I digress. Everything being full on dead is the reason why there are no human NPCs in this game, as you might imagine. So how does the story get told, you may ask? Well, you set out into the big dead world of West Virginia to catch up with your overseer for a good old catch up over a cup of tea. Lucky for you, the overseer must have crazy anxiety over her writing skills and voice recordings, as every time she makes one, it gets thrown around the places she visited. In effect, this leaves a trail of breadcrumbs to follow. Thus, your journey through the great outdoors will be dictated by thousands of quest marks, taking you from point A to point B, or in this case, from one personal journal entry left by the overseer to the other, until endgame. And so you will travel through the map, gradually making your way through all key locations, which are also littered with personal logs of ex-inhabitants. I don't fucking get what it is with this game, and everyone dropping their scribbles and voice recorders like it's goddamn hot. If you don't see any value in your memories, don't fucking scribble them every time you take a dump. Anyway, the writing and voice recordings are quite good. It's just a shame that I couldn't give less shit about anything they're talking about without having actual people to relate to and contextualize those memories to. I don't quite get why Fallout 76 couldn't have human NPCs, dialogue, and the like. I get the whole idea that the vault dwellers are meant to be the only living people in Appalachia, but couldn't they be made into NPCs? Would it not make sense to make vault dwellers into quest givers, who would give context to the locations of the game and reward players with new blueprints for improving a player's base? For example, imagine a quest like this. The player meets the ex-chief engineer from the vault. The engineer is trying to find a way to purify water or measure its radiation in a key location. He tasks the player with going around the area to get samples. The player comes back with said samples and gets rewarded with a blueprint for a water pump. During the quest, the player also has the chance to question the quest giver about the history of the place that the engineer might have uncovered during his or her work. You know, just for context. This is actually one of the first quests in the game, but instead of human NPCs, all interaction and lore are tied to 2 terminals, and then upon completion, the player is gifted rewards out of thin air. Now, tell me dear viewer, which quest design makes more logical sense and sounds more immersive? Anyway, the only NPCs in this joke of a Fallout game are robots. In fact, there are so many fucking robots. Everything you'll be doing will be based around robots. Well, hello Mr. Toaster, how are you doing today? Oh, I'm doing just dandy. Tell me, Sonny Jim, would you mind going to this place bursting with other evil toasters to reclaim my underwear in a lazy and repetitive quest? Ah, fuck off. I've already done this for Mr. Coffee Maker and Mrs. Kettle today. Other than robots, you will also fight the usual post-apocalyptic overgrown rats and the like, as well as these scorched fellas replace the usual graders and bandits, because we all know these guys were all the same. I guess it makes settling down easy as you don't have to argue over land with any pesky neighbours, that is, unless you settle next to another player and you don't get along. This is the kind of a neighbourhood where one angry word to another angry word might lead up to the very awkward social interaction of somebody dropping a nuke on your head while you sleep. I guess the main end game thing to look forward to in Fallout 76 is to find the password to a nuclear silo so that you can drop a nuke at somebody's head before they do it to you. This will completely destroy the base and the surrounding area, while also spawning more difficult enemies and rare loot. Thus, you might consider that a bit of a dick move. You can also be a dick by just walking up to another player to attack them. However, your attacks will be as effective as your pickup lines until the other player returns fire. And so you get this weird limbo between PvP gameplay and one's choice to completely ignore it. It's as if Bethesda couldn't make their mind up about what kind of a game they want Fallout 76 to be. Should it fully embrace its multiplayer diarrhea storm, or allow players to experience the game at their own leisure? They've decided to compromise both and provide neither, like a parent who buys an Xbox with just one controller for the twins.